Darkcast Network. Indie pods with a dark side.
Have you ever wondered how in the hell did I get here? You are not alone. My podcast is called True Crime Connections. It's an advocacy podcast where I talk with survivors of toxic relationships, abusive marriages. We all have one thing in common. How in the hell did we get here? And how do we get out? How do we find our self-worth again? Well, if you feel that way, come check out my podcast, because not only do you get actionable steps to take to help you take your life back, but you can listen to how others have dealt with their own situations, including addiction, suicidal ideation, and low self-worth and respect. We can get you on the right track. Make sure to check out True Crime Connections. See you there.
Devil is on his way. Devil is on his way. Devil is on his way, motherfucker. The devil gonna make you pay. Fall to your knees. Devil is on his way. Fall to your knees. Devil gonna make you pay. Fall to your knees. Devil is on his way.
Hey y'all, welcome back to Mountain Murders.
I'm Heather.
And I'm Dylan.
Did you have a nice break, Dylan?
I'm disappointed right now.
We had a little holiday break.
Yeah, we had a little holiday break, and that was great with friends.
Some R&R.
Yeah, with good
Much
friends.
needed.
But we need to get back to the problem at hand at the moment. Is you just asked for a drink of my drink, right? And then I think you took a sup. But then you said it ends up you took a swig. And nobody cleared you for taking a swig. That's like a lot. That was a big drink. Oh my God.
Are we really having this conversation, Dylan? The difference between a sip, a sup, a drink,
Or a swig.
a swig.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it matters.
Well, I'm glad that you're breaking it down for us. I did not know there were differences or distinctions between the various forms of imbibing a beverage.
Yes, and they're all easily measurable by the fluid ounce.
All right, Dylan, enough of you. We've all missed you. We've missed your antics.
And here we are in the studio. We're so glad to be back because we have been out and about in the world, hanging with friends, giving thanks to this great country of ours.
We've been out and about in the world, and we're glad to be back home and away from the world. No, I'm just kidding. We did have a great trip out of town with some friends. Very nice, relaxing, beautiful mountain views. Really makes me miss our mountain home, Dylan.
Yes, it did.
Headed out on the lake. Got to go to an old swimming hole and get in the creek.
Got to go float in the creek.
You know, I'm like a little fish. I dry out, so you got to throw me in the water every so often. I just got to go float. It was lovely. I miss the cold creeks, the cold mountain creek water.
Yes, and the nice cool evening breezes. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so hopefully you guys had a great 4th of July holiday. I know I'm prouder to be an American now than ever before, y'all. 250.
That's right.
Okay.
Once in a lifetime celebration.
Are you ready to get into today's case, Dylan?
Yes, as soon as I run some kittens off.
Okay, before we jump into today's case, we wanted to spend a few minutes discussing something that's a bigger part of everyday life than most people, most of us really ever imagined. And it's going to be a recurring subject throughout this case.
Okay.
Free speech.
Oh, free speech.
I'm a big proponent of the First Amendment. I'm a journalist by nature. I have worked in that field for many years. And so, of course, I'm always about First Amendment rights, freedom of speech, freedom of the press. I think it's a very important cornerstone of our nation.
Well, yeah, I agree with you completely. And because I think without free speech, this nation of America would look very different. right? And I think the free speech leads to so many kind of props up many more rights, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's definitely like probably one of the most important rights we have as a people in this country. And it seems like everywhere you look, social media, the news, workplaces, schools, even around the dinner table, people are arguing over what should or shouldn't be said, who's been canceled, and where the line is between expressing an opinion and causing harm. In the United States, the First Amendment is one of the cornerstones of our Constitution, as I've said before, and it protects the right to speak, to express opinions, to criticize those in power, to practice religion freely, to assemble peacefully, and to petition the government. Those protections have allowed difficult conversations, social movements, and challenges to its authority throughout our country's history. And at the same time, the First Amendment doesn't mean every opinion will be popular or free from criticism, and it doesn't prevent private businesses or platforms from setting their own rules. That's an important distinction that is often lost in today's conversations. So here at Mountain Murders, we believe people can disagree without becoming enemies. We don't expect everyone listening to share our opinions. And frankly, that's part of living in a free society. Healthy debate, respectful disagreement, and the ability to hear perspectives different from our own are all part of what makes that freedom meaningful.
Yeah, I've said it before. I don't want everyone to be exactly like me or think like me or always agree with me. Because for one, that would be a boring world, right? With no, like you said, lively debate or, a good conversation or, if you're in a position to kind of, explain your position and also defend it with, facts or, more than just your feelings. I enjoy all that stuff. And I think that's what really makes a good, colorful society.
Whether we're talking about true crime, history, or current events, our goal isn't to tell you what to think. It's to encourage curiosity, ask questions, and have honest conversations, even when they're uncomfortable. So with that being said, Dylan, let's get into our episode because today's figure, very controversial, much like us, Dylan, he's not everyone's cup of tea.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
1 star.
I've been wanting to give us a 1-star review for a while now.
I'm glad. You should sit down and pen your very own.
I'm going to write
1-star review.
And I'm going to get somebody to post it for me.
Man, people get really upset when you have an opinion they don't like.
Well,
I'll never understand.
I'll never understand it either. I understand. We've left a bad review of a place because we felt like other people should know what they're walking into. Things like that. I understand. Or just carrying on and on about something. It's like, just let it go. You had a bad experience. Just move on. Don't go back there. But some people really get invested and get really fired up.
Well, part of the problem, I think, is these parasocial relationships, and not to discredit anyone out there, our listeners or whatever, because you spend a lot of time listening to, for example, a podcast. You do develop sort of a relationship with these hosts, even though they don't know who you are. I do it myself. There are podcasts I listen to where I feel like I know a lot about these people. And in some way, like almost like they're my friend, but they're not. I don't know them, but they seem cool and I'd hang out with them. And you develop these like parasocial relationships. So when they say something that you don't like, it really, really, really sends you over the top. How dare they?
Yeah.
And that's not exactly healthy to develop those kinds of relationships. And I just think we all need to take a step back sometimes, a little deep breath, and just agree to disagree. You don't always have to agree. And I think a lot of times people take one conversation and somehow it morphs into another conversation completely like off subject, if that makes sense. Like if you're having a conversation about accountability and then the other person's having a conversation about race, well, those are two different conversations. And then I'm just going to leave it at that.
Well, yeah. Yes. And I could see the confusion arising from a situation like that.
Right. But my conversation will always be steered toward accountability. I don't care if you're green, red, purple, checkerboarded.
What about
I always want you to be accountable for your actions. That is always my number one.
What about the Paisley people?
So let's,
We
well,
have no representation in this court.
I don't know about those people. Now, Larry Flynt, that is who we are discussing today. Dylan, Larry Flynt was born on November 1st of 1942 in Lakeville, Kentucky. It was a very rural community in Magoffin County, the Appalachian region of the state, with a coal mining history and also part of the Big Sandy area. At the time, it was isolated with only about 500 residents.
Wow, that is tiny, right? I mean, that's about as small as it gets.
We joke those are towns with like a stoplight.
Well, I call it a wide spot in the road.
A wide spot in the road, exactly.
And certainly not making fun of a community like that, because
we've lived in those communities ourselves.
Yeah, and there's there's pros and cons to everything, but there's some really good pros to living in a small community like that. And for one, it tends to be a high trust community.
There's that.
And what's nice about a high trust community is everyone's, for the most part, you always got the bad apples or the shitbirds, if you will. Every community has that. Even if it's 50 people or 20 people, one of them will be an asshole. But for the most part, everyone trusts everyone else. And in public, they say hi, they say bye, they greet each other, they hold doors. You can leave your car running in a store, convenience store parking lot and run in right quick.
The kind of place, if you leave your wallet at the counter, you come back, someone has
turned it in,
put it behind the counter to keep it safe for you.
And they knew it was your wallet.
We were just in a very small town, much like this, in the mountains. And it was so nice, that small town feel. There's not a lot of traffic. Everybody's super friendly, welcoming. You go to the small town diner, this is where all the locals eat, and everybody's just kind of hanging out. They don't have to lock their car doors.
Right.
I mean, it's just nice, right?
It is nice.
Well, that's where Larry was living until he was about 9 years old. There were no paved roads around.
Damn.
In Larry's memoir, he describes a lack of adult supervision during his childhood. His upbringing was difficult. Larry was exposed to human sexuality at a young age. He claims that at the age of 9, he fornicated with a chicken.
Damn.
Larry was a chicken fucker, and he's very open about this.
Damn, he's a self-described chicken fucker.
Self-proclaimed chicken fucker, yes. So afterward, he felt guilty and vowed he would never do that type of thing again.
I just don't know how you even fuck a chicken, dude.
He described it as being he described it as part of being hillbilly. And look, I'm a hillbilly, and never once have I been a chicken fucker. Just putting it out there.
No, and I don't know any chicken fuckers either.
I don't know anybody who's ever admitted to it.
I don't even know how you would do it.
I don't know, but I have seen it in Pink Flamingos, the John Waters film. What classic?
Yeah, the nastiest people alive.
Filthiest people alive.
Filthiest, sorry.
Since the town was a, quote, dry town, alcohol was not sold in public. There was a lot of bootlegging going on. Larry claimed he grew up around a lot of alcoholics and that just about everyone was drinking. There wasn't much to do but drink. The town was so rural, only one store existed, a general store, and if they didn't sell it, then you probably weren't going to get it.
And so in a dry town, a dry community, everyone drinks.
According to Larry.
So it's pretty ironic.
Well, that is how the bootlegging industry took off.
Right.
Right? Larry was the first of 3 children. His father, Larry Sr., was a sharecropper, and his mother, Edith, was a homemaker. Larry had 2 younger siblings, Judy and Jimmy. Larry Sr. served in the U.S. Army during World War II. When Larry was born, his father was deployed overseas in the European theater. Larry spent the first few years of his life being raised by women, his mother, his grandmother. So he definitely develops, I guess, what you could consider like a special relationship with these women.
Okay.
And despite what you think about Larry and what he chooses to do in the future, he does seem to be fairly progressive when it comes to, I guess, thoughts about women being free and liberated. And also, he's not afraid to put them in charge.
Right.
Like once he's in business, If he finds someone who's business savvy and, oh, hey, they happen to be a woman, Larry puts his complete trust in this person, you know?
As well he should. So, but I guess what you're saying that him being around females, so many women growing up during his formative years kind of left a mark on him, right?
Well, that seems to be, I think Larry acknowledges that as well.
In a positive way.
Right. That he understands women and doesn't see, like, he doesn't have a problem with a strong woman, I guess is where we're going with this. And you'll see that later in the story. Magoffin was the poorest county in the nation during the Great Depression. His family lived in poverty, as did most of their friends and neighbors. In 1951, Larry's little sister Judy, only 4 at the time, passed away after battling leukemia. The death put a great strain on the parents' marriage. They did divorce a year later. And I don't think that's uncommon. Anytime there is a devastating loss, the loss of a child, I think a lot of couples can't get over that.
Right.
Or like, I don't know. It's like they have a really hard time reconciling what's happened.
Yeah. I mean, I could only imagine dealing with something like that. But it does seem to, many times, kind of tear the people apart for whatever reason, you know, be it blame or just can't look at the other person without thinking about the child. I mean, I don't know. It's probably just a really hard thing to go through.
Yeah, we're very blessed that we've never experienced that kind of loss. Larry relocated to Hamlet, Indiana, where he lived with his mother. Jimmy, the younger brother, stayed in Kentucky with their maternal grandmother. About 2 years later, Larry returned to Kentucky to live with his father because he did not like his mother's new boyfriend. So at this point, Larry is a preteen. He has no interest in school or education. Larry's main goal is to set out on his own and earn a living. He is all about the Benjamins. He does not see any benefit learning reading, writing, and arithmetic. He's ready to start, earning some cash.
He wants to be real world.
He wants the money to roll in. Now, at age 15, in 1958, Larry enlisted in the United States Army. Larry was able to convince his mother to sign a consent form, even though the Army wouldn't take persons under 17. They were able to lie on Larry's birth certificate in order to push forward with the enlistment.
Damn.
So Larry, forges some papers, gets his mom on board to sign these because he's a pretty persuasive guy, and off he goes, 15 years old. Well, Larry had been running away at this point, so his mother was pleased that he wanted to join the Army. She felt like it was a way to keep tabs on him, and at least she would know he was safe.
And know where he's
and being
at.
like watched over. Yeah. While serving, Larry, along with some of his platoon, visited a brothel. Now, this will be Larry's first experience in a brothel. He described it as, quote, a seedy, cheap motel where the bellhop would send a girl to your room.
Okay.
Now, Larry was a virgin at this time. When the sex worker arrived to his room, young Larry was surprised because the woman was much older. She was in her 40s. And of course, Larry isn't honest about it being his first encounter. I mean, he did have sex with that chicken, but it was his first time being with a human female, we should say.
Damn. Okay. So you shouldn't have to make that distinction.
Right. And, it was awkward, but he said, she knew that even though he was acting like, I'm not a virgin, she knew he was. And so therefore, I guess she was gentle with young Larry. He lost his virginity to this woman. And while in the Army, Larry developed a passion for playing poker. So maybe not only visiting the brothels, he liked to play poker. About 7 months after this brothel visit, Larry is discharged from the U.S. Army. He rejoins his mother in Indiana and finds employment at the Inland Manufacturing Company, which is a GM affiliate. A union-led shutdown leaves him laid off after only a few months.
Damn it.
Larry returned to the hills of eastern Kentucky. He briefly worked as a bootlegger. Larry moved in with his alcoholic bootlegging daddy. He hooked up with an old high school buddy. That friend was tasked with getting alcohol from a neighboring county and bringing it over to the dry county where they lived, and then Larry would distribute
Okay.
this liquor. So, he's turning a profit. He's doing all right. When Larry learned that the law was on his tail, like they knew what he was doing, and word around was, they were going to bust him, he decided, being an outlaw wasn't the end game. He was too pretty to go to prison. Like, he wasn't interested in all that. So, it's time to make a change.
So as soon as the heat got turned up just a little bit, he decided he didn't want the consequences of this criminal activity.
Right. He wants a different life. He joined the Navy in 1961 and became a radar operator. But by that time, he was 22. Larry was twice divorced.
Oh my gosh. He
Yeah.
did everything fast.
He was a twice divorced sailor. First, Larry married a woman named Mary. Larry was not cut out to be a husband at this time. He had a problem with monogamy, and we'll discuss that later on. While they're married but separated, Larry starts a relationship with a woman in Dayton, Ohio, named Peggy. While he's on leave, he's got shore leave. And he sure leaves Peggy with a good time.
Oh my gosh.
No, so he returns to the Navy and comes back 13 months later. Peggy is 7 months pregnant. And Larry understands that the math doesn't add up. This child belongs to another man. But Larry decides, he loves Peggy and he's going to marry her anyway.
Okay.
This-
So he can deal with it.
The second marriage was a flop. Like Larry, Peggy also had a taste for the strange.
Well, obviously.
The marriage is plagued by infidelity, and Larry, he talks about chasing away multiple sailors from his home.
Oh. It's like, get out of here. Quit screwing my wife, dude.
Yeah.
Go offshore.
Trying to sneak in windows, coming up
Quit.
on the porch. Is Peggy home?
Quit deploying on my wife. Cut it out. Stop. No more semen in this house. Damn it.
You're getting a counseling shit.
Yeah.
I'm going to write it up the chain.
I want you to stop having sex with everybody but me.
Peggy became pregnant again. Their daughter Tanya was born in 1965. Tanya is Larry's first biological child. Larry's mother Edith opened a bar around this time called the Kiwi Bar.
Oh.
Being being around the Kiwi kind of changed Larry's life forever. He had been working these factory jobs since being discharged from the Navy. And, he kind of likes this bar life that his mom's got going on. So he saves $1,800. And in early 1965, he places a down payment on his mother's business. And eventually, Larry will pay $6,000 for this bar while keeping his other job kind of on payroll during the transition. So he's kind of doing other things, but he's also trying to work this bar.
Okay.
So we got a bar. Larry renovates the business and names it Larry's Hillbilly Haven.
See, people's like, oh, you should just do like your grandpa did and start a small business with $6,000,
Well, you could start a couple of small businesses with $6,000, perhaps.
Well, yeah, but you can't buy. I'm just saying relative. Even though I say $6,000, that was a lot of money back then.
Well, it was a lot of money back then.
Yeah. But, nowadays, that same bar, probably be $500,000, $750,000.
Well, can we just say I really would love to patronize Larry's Hillbilly Haven?
Yeah. It sounds awesome.
Sounds awesome. I feel like I could wear my Miller Lite hat there and fit right in.
People be like, that's a nice hat.
He leaned into his Appalachian roots and created a place for the blue-collar workers of Kentucky, Tennessee, and West Virginia. Larry's bar offered country music, horseshoes, and an unpretentious place to grab a cold beer.
And that's what a good beer joint is.
That's a beer joint, baby.
Right? That's where the beer's cold. There may be some women. It's usually mostly men. The shooting pool and such, a little gambling on the side or whatever. But it's just a good place to go hang out with buds and have a few beers,
The Brar Patch.
Nothing special.
When I was growing up, that place was the Brar Patch.
Yeah. Every town, every small community town, even in cities you have these in neighborhoods, that old spot where everybody's always went. Their dad went there, that kind of thing. And it's not fancy. And it just is what it is,
No frills.
No
just
frills.
Good old beer joint.
You're going to get, 3 or 4 beer choices, might be on tap, probably going to be in a bottle. But yeah, you got to love it.
Larry's dream became a reality. Hillbilly Haven was bringing in about $1,000 a week in the late 1960s, which by all accounts is a success. Larry was a workaholic. He would spend 60 to 80 hours a week at his business. He began using amphetamines to stay awake and was working these like 20-hour days. And that's the thing about Larry Dillon is he's no slacker. Like, Larry does not mind hard work, and he will put in the effort to like make shit happen, which I admire in anybody.
Well, yeah, that kind of drive, and you see people that have a drive like that, and they just keep on, and then they end up being very successful. And I think that really is a testament to what people call the American dream.
Yeah, I have a real, I guess, respect for people who have that fire in their belly and work hard and make shit happen and don't give up and aren't afraid to go out and try to be successful and make things happen. Sometimes I wish I was a bit more motivated.
No, I agree. And this is what you'll see with immigrants will come to a country like America, and they have this drive, this passion for a better life and, being able to take care of their families, and they just work their ass off. They get a business and they're willing to work it themselves, and, they don't go out to eat. They cut all the corners and just keep putting everything back into the business. And then, eventually it's very successful.
American dream, baby.
And I find that admirable when people do like that. And I think it's a really great accomplishment.
Absolutely. So Larry's Hillbilly Haven was a rough place that drew many macho men who wanted to fight. You know what? I say bring back toxic masculinity.
Okay.
I miss it. I like old rough and tumble big old men. I don't even care if they're a little sexist to me sometimes.
Well, what they did is they just labeled anything masculine toxic.
Yes.
Right? Which is not really, that's not really
true.
true.
There needs to be a balance between femininity and masculinity. And I don't necessarily think masculinity is a negative.
No, you need both of them, and they both work off of each other, right?
Multiple times a week, Larry would break up fights. At times, Larry pulled a gun on patrons to defuse situations. And of course, Larry ended up involved in some of these fights, getting punched a bunch of times. And that's got to get old. Larry felt like, I don't know if this is for me. I don't want to get punched in my nose every couple of weeks, breaking up a fight.
No, and you never know how violent these types of situations can get.
They can get out of hand. He purchased additional bars, including Larry's Hangover Tavern. You gotta love these names. And the Factory. And he kind of gradually built a nightlife empire in Dayton, Ohio. Larry described the secret to his bar's success as, quote, good drinks, loud music, and some nice girls to look at.
Okay. I don't think Larry came up with that formula.
No, but I mean, that's what I'm looking for when I go out to the bar.
Right.
When I was younger, I would see older people at the bar and be like, oh, that's kind of sad and I don't want to be that person. But you know what? I like going out. I like going to the bar. And if I'm that old person sitting at the bar having a drink, oh, well, I'm here for it. Because I like the nightlife. I like to boogie.
Yeah, we go out and have a good time, right? We have
I enjoy
fun.
it, yeah. I don't feel like we're too old to be out and about having a good time.
No. We just go hang around other old people.
Yeah.
Everybody goes home at 11:30.
Look, I want you to put some Waylon on the jukebox.
That's right.
And bring me a fruity girly drink at my dive bar.
A very cheaply priced drink.
Yeah.
Right?
And we'll have a sing-along.
I don't know. Some of these places are out of control. We've tried quite a few places in the last couple of years around in various states. And
City life.
some of these places are just, I get overhead and, you got to turn a buck. I get it. But some of these prices on drinks and stuff are just, they're insane.
Well, I think people can't afford to go out nowadays. I mean, that's a lot of why you don't see young people out and about. I mean, we grew up in the 90s and early 2000s and we went out. There was a nightlife. Young people like to go out. We clubbed. We went out and hung out. But it's because we could afford to do so. You could take $20 in 2001 and go out on the town for the evening, and that was plenty money to get you to get you right, Dylan, as they say, right?
Well, yeah, and some of these places just seem very heavily staffed to me. That's how they got freaking 50 workers. You're just like, what's going on? And then I guess I know why you're charging me $18 for this mixed drink.
Yeah.
I mean, what are we doing anyway? back to the story.
Well, right. I mean, it's not even like you're getting some mixologist who's, curated this twig of rosemary for your ice from,
Well, and that's the thing.
a Hungarian mountaintop or something.
No, they didn't even know what goes in.
From Austria.
When it goes in, a tequila sunrise. It's not Tom Cruise. Anyway, back to it.
When Larry opened the new club, he took out a bank note for renovations. He paid the loan off sooner than expected, which kind of annoyed the bank.
Well, yeah, they want that interest.
Right. And so I guess maybe they were being some type of way to Larry, because he's hilarious, by the way, and he's very petty, and I love these qualities about him, okay? So he trolls the bank. Larry bought 20 wheelbarrows. With enough pennies to pay off the loan, he rolled the wheelbarrows into the bank. Scantily clad dancers helped Larry bring this parade of coins into the bank, causing quite a spectacle.
I've heard tell of people doing things like this.
Right. So Larry wanted to offer more to patrons, and after hearing about go-go clubs out west, Larry decided to open the first Hustler Club in Dayton, Ohio. That club featured topless dancers. It was also like a new kind of higher end type of bar. He was hoping to draw a different type of crowd than perhaps the Hillbilly Haven.
Right. So
he's thinking businessmen, traveling, pocket full of money, expense accounts.
Yeah, well, that's it's a different class of clientele, and I guess his hope is to kind of get rid of some of the rough and tumble.
Well, as you can imagine, this publicity stunt definitely garnered media attention, which was really good for this new club he opened. During the penny stunt, people gathered to watch and take photographs. It was a big deal, and lots of people in town thought it was funny.
Nice.
They didn't mind seeing, women in sexy negligees rolling in wheelbarrows full of pennies to the bank.
Okay.
Larry set his club apart by training the female employees to focus their attention on the guy who was, quote, a little older, fatter, balder, or maybe smelled. The guy who wasn't getting attention or would otherwise be ignored by beautiful women in public. Larry knew that these guys who would be, patronizing the club had money. Again, they often have these expense accounts through work. So Larry instructed his female employees to always be pleasant and optimistic, never complain or be negative in any way, and to try to give these guys a little extra attention that they otherwise would not receive.
Okay.
Right?
Now, did this work?
Well, of course it worked. Dylan, let me escort you to the ATM, sir.
Wait, that's what you've been doing to me.
You're the most special man in the world.
I don't smell.
Hand me your paycheck.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's right.
It works out.
It does work out.
I'm more responsible with money most of the time.
You are. Then I can just get money back from you later.
I give you an allowance. It's okay. Larry knew that many of his clients were married men who were looking for something different, just an escape, if you will, from married life. So he told these women, his employees, dress up, look beautiful, just look your best, and don't nag men because they get plenty of that at home.
So basically be fake.
Let me escort you to the ATM. You are my new favorite person. Please come back and see me anytime.
See, I think this...
you want a conversation? That's going to start at $65 and up.
And it's just their job. I get it. And it works. A lot of guys are into that. But the fakeness at a strip club, 'cause I know you're not into me. You know what I mean? I know. And I think that's what would always kind of turn me off.
What if I am into
of the whole thing? Is just, I know it's all bullshit.
I'm in love with the stripper. Between 1968 and 1971, Larry opened hustler clubs throughout Ohio. In 1971, Larry met Althea Lejour.
Oh, she sounds...
Or Althea Lejour. I like it, Lejour.
She sounds fancy.
Well, she was a woman who had become a very important part of his life. She was dancing at his bar, and Larry thought she looked a little too young. Turns out, Althea had borrowed a play from Larry's book. Her mother had, quote, signed a form so she could work at the club. So she forged her own fake paperwork to get a job dancing at Larry's club.
And she is indeed too young to be dancing in the club.
Larry called her into his office with plans to fire Althea. She explained to Larry that she was 19 and handed him an ID. Larry could easily see it was a fake. He asked how old she really was. At first, Althea said 18. Then she finally admitted she was only 17 years old. Larry was unsure about keeping Althea on staff, but she told him her life story, and the pair ended up getting to know each other like really well. And like Larry, Althea had a very troubled childhood. So it's like, I guess Larry in some ways kind of, he felt like she was a kindred spirit.
Right.
But he also took pity on her because he knew what it's like to come from nothing. So he felt like, well, maybe I should not fire her.
Right. He took pity on her.
Let's talk a little bit about Althea because, like I say, she's a pretty important part of Larry's life, and she'll be an important part of the story. So Althea was born in Marietta, Ohio in 1953. At 9 years old, Althea's father killed her mother, her mother's friend, and her grandmother, and then himself.
Damn.
So murder, triple
murder,
suicide, quadruple. Yeah. Althea lost every adult in her life. Her entire world is just taken out.
Damn, that's terrible.
It's very sad. So Althea was sent to a religious-based orphanage run by nuns. She alleged that these various homes were rampant with sexual abuse and that she was sexually abused and molested by the nuns.
So she has this devastating thing happen in her life, just turns her whole world upside down, and all she needs is someone to, protect her, help her along, and she gets exposed to something like that. And there's so many people's stories is this very thing. And it's what's so terrible about, the foster system, all that, state homes. It's just, I don't think there's ever been any of those places I've heard about where they said, no, every kid was taken care of and nobody was abused.
Well, predators will always be attracted to the vulnerable.
Right. Of course.
And sadly, that is just, I guess, the way the world works. But we really do need to do a better job of protecting innocent children, the elderly. We just, I feel like we don't take care of our most vulnerable in society.
You reckon they could figure out some kind of a test to along the lines of a lie detector, but just to be able to tell if you're attracted to freaking young people or something?
Yeah, or maybe just have some accountability in these positions instead of just like moving these religious leaders from church to hide them.
Don't get me started.
I'm always about accountability, and I think that's a lot of what's missing in these situations.
Here's an idea. Death sentence the first time you molest a kid.
Well, there's that.
And that happens in 6 months from then. That might slow people down. Anyway.
Althea moved to Florida to stay with an aunt. She was finally free from the nuns. But after a while, she was sent to another abusive group home. She ended up running away and living with a boyfriend for a while. At 16, she was taken into juvenile hall for running away. But she just felt like she didn't have any other options. And at least shacking up with some guy made her feel a little safer than being in these homes where she's repeatedly abused.
Right.
Althea was dabbling in drugs and making poor choices. After being released from juvie, Althea lived with a sister for a bit. After a series of unstable and failed homes, Althea was able to become an emancipated minor. She got a place to live, but had to take care of herself. So she needs work. That's why she came to Larry's club in order to make ends meet. She knew she would not be able to make that kind of money that fast to sustain herself, doing anything else.
Right.
And she's young and she doesn't have the education. She doesn't have any work skills. Larry allows her to stay, and he grows to trust Althea. She was whip smart and savvy, and Larry put her in charge of the other girls at the Columbus Club. So she eventually becomes kind of like the
manager,
the den mother, if you will, at this club. Yeah, she's managing the females and making sure all the women have what they need. The dressing rooms are clean, that kind of thing. Althea impressed him, and after seeing how excellent a manager she was, Larry promoted her to be like head den mother. So she would oversee all the girls across all the clubs he owned. And I say girls, women, you know,
Well, yeah.
all the ladies. Althea, it turned out, had a knack for business and great instincts. She was also like just this really cool chick. She was fun to be around, clever as hell. I mean, she's the type of woman that like you just want to be friends with. Like men, women, everybody is just like attracted to her because she's got this magnetic personality and she's so like cool.
She sounds awesome.
Yeah, right? I mean, she does sound awesome. So it didn't take long for Larry to fall head over heels in love with her. So Althea's got Larry wrapped around her little finger. Larry had never met a woman like her before, and he was just enchanted. They had become best friends and business partners. Larry wanted more. He told Althea that she was the love of his life. But Larry also said, I cannot be sexually exclusive with you. Like, I have this monogamy problem. I'm absolutely in love with you. Like, you're my soulmate. I want to be with you for the rest of my life. But I want you to know I'm a cheater.
What do you think? He was a sex addict, maybe?
Maybe. I mean, I don't know. But, you know, Althea was like, okay, she accepted this. And the pair went on to have a real relationship. And part of this was because Althea was openly bisexual. She made no bones about her desire to sleep with women. Larry wasn't into monogamy, and neither was Althea. They had really found their perfect match with each other. Althea didn't sleep with other men, so she would only sleep with women. And Larry was allowed to sleep with women too. And they're both involved in this lifestyle, and it works for them, and they're really in love. So, I mean, Larry's like, you know, this is a beautiful relationship we have. And
Yeah.
it may look strange from the outside and people don't understand it. But, like, this works for us. We're in this together.
Well, yeah, and that relationship like that, everybody wants to judge, and well, I'd never. Then that's fine.
Well, it's not for everybody.
It's not for you, but and I think it only works if you're upfront and honest in the very beginning, and that everybody kind of sticks to whatever rules you put into place. But hey, if it works for them, who am I to judge, right?
Exactly. Live your life. By 1972, Larry's clubs were offering membership accounts. Larry created a newsletter that was mailed to members. Initially, Dylan, it was like a black and white newsletter. It's about 4 pages. It featured short articles, photos of the dancers. The Hustler newsletter became very popular. People who weren't members sought out the newsletter, and people were starting to ask, can I subscribe?
So it just started as a newsletter.
Started as a
Interesting.
newsletter. With the newsletter soaring in popularity and demand, Larry moved to make the publication 24 pages with colored images. Larry shortened the name to just Hustler. And honestly, I think it's a great name.
You think it's a great name?
I think it's a great name
Yeah.
for a adult magazine.
Yeah, it's a great
It's
name.
better than Jugs, right?
Big booties.
After a while, Larry wanted to build Hustler into a national men's magazine like Playboy.
I think Jugs is a great name too.
My personal favorite is Balls.
Balls.
Yeah.
Is that really one?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
It's just some saggy balls.
It's just
I love when they do the middle-aged man edition.
Is that
Where
real?
It's just men in their 40s.
That's
and you
not
see their
real.
balls.
That's not a show. That's not a book. That's not a magazine either. You're making it up.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Balls?
Balls. It's a beautiful thing, Dylan.
It's not.
Men's magazines have existed for well over a century, but the modern, quote, lifestyle magazine for men didn't really take shape until the 1950s. These publications combined articles on like politics, literature, fashion, humor, interviews, and culture, featuring, you know, photography of attractive women throughout. Just, you know, peppered throughout the magazine.
Yeah. And you know, it's funny because some of these magazines were renowned for their articles. They really,
I know.
they really were. It was a big deal.
Well, I know. We're going to talk about that. So Playboy was founded by Hugh Hefner in Chicago. It debuted in December of 1953 with an iconic cover featuring Marilyn Monroe. Playboy became just as famous for its articles, Dylan. They would get popular writers, journalists, celebrities to write pieces.
Yeah, be big time.
Interview. I mean, Playboy, they interviewed Jimmy Carter. You would get all kinds of information.
Yeah, they would
in these articles.
Drop these big articles that would have people talking, on the various topics.
Another popular magazine competing with Playboy in the 1950s was Cavalier. It attracted many well-known writers who became popular in the 1960s. So a lot of these writers got their start. Cavalier magazine.
I've never heard of this one.
Or perhaps Playboy. And then they, would move on to becoming published authors, fiction, that type of thing. Flynt's publishing prospects were not good. After being passed around among several media, like businessmen, he was introduced to a guy named Ron Fenton. Fenton published a magazine called Gallery, which was known as the, quote, working man's Esquire.
Oh.
Fenton offered Larry a 10% stake in Gallery magazine in exchange for a $50,000 loan. Larry became co-publisher of Gallery, but unfortunately, Gallery magazine's finances were not great. It was shut down just a few months later, and by then, Larry was in debt. However, Ron Fenton saw a lucrative opportunity with Larry. They decided to start a new magazine. Larry purchased Playboys to see what these other men's magazines were doing. While combing through the pages, Larry saw these beautiful, airbrushed women. And of course, Larry likes TNA.
Right.
We all do, don't we? But he was like, he needed a little something more. He was like, where's the vag?
Well, what he was looking for is a way to make his magazine stand out, I think. And he noticed, along with everyone else, I'm sure, that Playboy was very artful and, how would you describe it? Clean?
Tasteful nudes,
Tasteful
perhaps?
nudes, very highly polished, like you said.
Artful, perhaps?
Curated, very, yes. And more...
Well, these women look very much like fashion models. They're dressed, we're loosely using the term dressed, but, they might be dressed in, like a expensive pearl necklace and some sexy garter belts or something, right?
In these
and
lavish
beautiful
locations.
lighting and and very soft lighting, and they look like a model. And Larry was like, yeah, that's great and all, but I see your bush, but I want to see what's under the bush.
He wants to see inside
He
the bush.
wants to see under the hood. Larry's a man who needs to see some labia. He also felt that Playboy and Penthouse catered to a certain demographic of men, kind of upper crust and pretentious. And Larry, a man of the people, wanted something geared toward the working man. A magazine that blue-collar guys would find interesting. Larry's going to stay true to his roots, and, I love that about him. The working man needs a little something too, Dylan. And Larry thinks the working man needs to see some spread eagle shots.
Which,
in big full color.
Honestly, when...
Centerfold, taking up the whole page.
I was almost shocked by the differences, as a very young man being exposed to these magazines. Playboy was great, but then you see something like Hustler, and you're just like, oh my God. There's certainly different styles for sure.
I don't know if I've ever seen a Hustler magazine. Maybe. I don't know if I've ever actually seen a Hustler.
Yeah, you see the way I'm sitting? Yeah.
Oh, you give me an eyeful every day.
Take a picture of that. Imagine that with no shorts on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I keep telling you to do an OnlyFans, bud.
And do a up-close shot.
Perfect for Balls magazine.
It is. They're pushed forward right now.
Just stop. No one cares, Dylan.
You're the one that keeps bringing up Balls magazine.
I'm just trying to get a little something for the ladies and the gentlemen. Now, the first issue of Hustler magazine dropped in July of 1974. Hustler was intentionally more provocative and blue-collar, if you will. Flynt wanted to shock readers. The magazine featured explicit nude photography, satire, cartoons, opinion pieces, and advertisements aimed at working class men. I'm not sure what that means. What kind of advertisements would be aimed at them? Maybe not Brooks Brothers.
Hey, you want some socks that don't fall down?
How about some DeWalt tools in this magazine?
Well, come down to the stand-up sock store and get you a pair today. These socks will never fall down.
All right.
The stand-up sock store.
No Brooks Brothers.
No.
No.
Brooks who?
Larry employed Althea as the executive editor. She oversaw the content, and she would approve the work before it got to Larry, who had final say. Althea knew what Larry liked, but she also brought a woman's perspective, which he liked that, right? So even though like he wants it to be very explicit, Althea is helping steer him toward, yeah, you can have that, but still have the women
Be tasteful.
Be-
Somewhat.
be sexy. It doesn't have to be trashy. They can still be beautiful and
Right. Without being gross.
Right. I guess that's what you could say. Larry is progressive, like I said, at a time when women were still underestimated. I mean, he's got Althea like running this magazine, which was unheard of. Like most of these men's magazines did not have a female on staff.
Right.
Right? The November 1974 issue featured a model, spread eagle, revealing something more than other magazines were offering at the time. From then on, Larry wanted photos that were more explicit. The magazine sold 160,000 copies, which was respectable, but not a spectacular debut. The early issues did not make Hustler an overnight success. The February 1975 issue was controversial, and retailers refused to carry it because it was very explicit. And they were like, yeah, we can't sell this in our stores. Larry is struggling to hang on. He's failed to pay his taxes, trying to keep this magazine going. He's like putting all of his money into this magazine. And though he's making money from the clubs and whatnot, it's just going right out the door to keep the lights on and to keep this thing running.
Well, it makes you wonder why he even went on this venture in the first place. You know what I mean? I mean, he has this string of clubs, sounds very successful, making plenty of money. And now he's pouring everything he has into this magazine.
He had a vision, Dylan.
Okay.
He knew what the working man wanted.
I tried to throw something on the floor and
And
make
the
her,
working man wants beaver shots, Dylan.
make her pick something up off the floor, but what she don't know is you got a camera. Take a picture of that.
Yeah. Get a picture of that butthole.
I want to see that butthole.
Yeah, exactly. Now,
Make her pick it up, Larry. Make her pick it up.
you're gross.
Larry,
When
now,
stop doing that voice.
take a picture.
You're making me sick.
That
Ew.
was my camera.
Stop. Yeah. You're fired. The magazine's breakthrough came in August of 1975 when Flynt purchased and published unauthorized nude paparazzi photos of none other than Jackie Kennedy Onassis.
Damn.
The issue sold around 1 million copies and propelled the magazine into a major national publication. By now, Larry is a millionaire. He's managed to pay off those taxes, Dylan. It sold out. The governor of Ohio was even seen buying a copy of the Jackie O edition, which, you know, was scandalous at the time.
Everybody's trying to see her.
Everybody wants to see the first lady in the buff. You know, some other folks out there thought it was really tasteless. Like, how could you do that to our first lady? But Larry's like, you know, if she wants to be naked on the French Riviera, we're going to publish it. We all want to see her naked.
Oh, that's where she was?
Well, yeah, it was like vacation photos
Wasn't
on
like
like a
a-
nude beach or something.
Okay, it wasn't like telephoto lens into her residence or anything
No,
like that.
I don't think so.
Okay.
One thing about Hustler was that Larry wanted real women, not necessarily models for the magazine. While Playboy offered a very glam version of the girl next door, Larry truly wanted the girl next door in his magazine. He said, quote, "I wanted to offend everyone on an equal opportunity basis." But he really does kind of like the girl next door look. He does, you know, they don't necessarily have to have cosmetic surgery. They don't have to have breast implants. They don't have to be airbrushed. Like,
Right.
he likes real, natural women. You know, if they've got a little bit of a stretch mark, he doesn't care.
Well, and men don't care like that about things like that.
Well, that's what I hear,
And it's
but
true.
I don't know if it's true.
It is true. It is true. What are you talking about?
Okay.
I like a woman with a little bit of meat on her. Maybe a stretch mark or two.
Okay.
We can rub our stretch marks together.
Okay. Yeah.
That's right. I'll lick them. I'll lick stretch marks and scars. I don't care.
You need to stop. This is a very explicit episode with Dylan
Yes.
today.
That's right.
Quit being horny over there.
I'm turning
dirty
myself
old
on.
man.
Damn.
Well, that's not hard to do. I think the sound of your own voice turns you on. With the magazine selling in like high volume, Larry needs to find a press. The Dayton Press Incorporated agreed to print Hustler magazine. The Baptist Church in Dayton, Ohio was unhappy with this decision. Reverend Griffin of Dayton called the magazine, quote, pornographic and lewd. The Great Dayton Association of Southern Baptists sent an angry letter to the press. However, the Dayton Press was making a lot of money from Hustler. They wanted that money to keep rolling in. At the time, Hustler was the fastest growing magazine in the country. So they are like, well, you know, we get you're not happy, Preacher Griffin, but we're gonna keep on making money.
Well, you see this a lot, especially when it comes to people's something they feel is morally wrong.
Exactly.
They just assume that everyone else should have those same morals that they do. And, yeah, I mean, I guess you can't really blame the Dayton Press. It's a lucrative business relationship for them. And as long as it's, you know, meeting the letter of the law, I guess, of what can be published, then who are they to say anything about it?
Larry and Althea moved into an affluent neighborhood in Columbus, Ohio. Larry's home featured 6 bedrooms, a library, a projection room, a wine cellar, 2 basement recreation rooms, a huge party room with a waterfall, and a koi pond. Larry renovated the place, adding a sauna and a steam room. He also added, my favorite, Dylan, a heart-shaped tub for 2 in the master suite.
Nice.
I want a heart-shaped tub.
And a vibrating bed.
Oh, man, I wish. We need to find one of those old hotels in the Poconos with the heart-shaped bed or the heart-shaped vibrating bed and the heart-shaped tub.
And maybe the bed rotates.
Because I've seen those heart-shaped beds, too.
Yeah.
Some of those really romantic spots from the 70s.
With like the themed rooms.
Man, why? We've gotten away from this type of fun. We as a society, we're not fun anymore. We used to have a little bit of whimsy, right? You would have a gas station shaped like a dinosaur.
Right. Everything's the same now.
You would go stay in like the, you know, the Poseidon room where there's like, you know, a big mural and some clamshells painted on the walls or whatever.
We've lost our way.
We have. We need to bring back fun again. We're all such stick in the muds nowadays. You just want to go stay in your white hotel room with the white sheets and the white comforter.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's so you can see if something's on them.
Not me. I want to stay in the like King Arthur suite where there might be a torture device in the corner.
Or you want to be pulling on that sword all night.
It's true.
Yeah, that's right. Release Excalibur.
Larry added bulletproof glass to all the windows. He even built a replica of what he called a hillbilly cabin in the basement of the home. He installed a 3-foot chicken statue.
In honor of his first love.
In honor of his first love. Yes, Dylan. Larry's house was located at 31 South Columbia Avenue in the suburb of Bexley. It was 8,000 square feet. So big-ass house. But the neighbors are not pleased. They looked down on Larry as a smut peddler and, you know, new money, the nouveau riche. And new money isn't as good as old money, right?
That's what they say.
Larry had wealth, but he did not have the social status or, like, pedigree that often comes with old money, right? The residents were rude to Larry and Althea. The Columbus Monthly's cover featured Larry with the headline, "Hustler Goes to Bexley." Local residents were panicked that he would turn the historic mansion into a Playboy style party house. One of the biggest points of friction was that the home sat across from the Columbus School for Girls. A neighbor complained to Time magazine saying Flynt might start handing out lollipops to young girls. So Flynt responded with, "I'll probably be out there on the first day of school giving them out. That's how I get my kicks." End quote.
So this is often done. They're equating consenting adults, sex work, with pedophilia.
Yes.
When they're not mutually exclusive. They're two separate things.
Well, and they're basically saying, like, because you do this for a living, this is what you do at home.
Right. Like, yeah, I know.
And just because he and Althea have this publication, they actually, when they're home, live a very quiet life. Ultimately, the neighbors' fears of orgies and nonstop parties were unfounded because, again, Larry and Althea are quiet neighbors. They don't have big parties. They like staying at home. They're quiet, respectful neighbors, just doing their own thing.
Yeah, and I got to imagine a neighborhood like this, these, 7, 8, 10,000 square foot homes are probably on a fairly sizable lot. So it's not like you're right on top of your neighbor. You know what I mean? They have the, and they oftentimes come with their own kind of built-in privacy, the way they're designed. And for this very reason, you don't want to see your neighbors every time you walk out the door. So it would probably be hard to even bug somebody in a setting like that.
In the summer of 1976, Larry was charged with pandering, obscenity, and organized crime in Cincinnati, Ohio. He was charged along with his brother Jimmy and a guy named Al Van Schaik. Now, at the time, Ohio treated corporations as people. Organized crime was defined as 5 or more people committing a crime together for profit. Cincinnati had developed a reputation during this period as one of the nation's most aggressive cities in prosecuting obscenity. Prosecutor Simon Lees made anti-pornography enforcement a central part of his office's work and targeted magazines, bookstores, and adult movie theaters. Larry's trial lasted about 5 weeks. Prosecutors argued that multiple issues of Hustler published between July of 1975 and May of 1976 met Ohio's definition of obscenity. The defense countered that the prosecution violated Larry's First Amendment rights and that the organized crime charge was an improper attempt to punish protected expression. In February of 1977, a jury convicted Flynt. Althea and Jimmy were acquitted along with Van Schaik, the company executive. Larry was sentenced to 7 to 25 years in prison for the organized crime conviction. A concurrent 6-month prison sentence was imposed for obscenity. Flynt served only 6 days in jail before being released on appeal. And in the end, the convictions did not stand.
Well, no, because they were obviously just convicting him of being Larry Flynt for the most part, and they don't like what he does, and that's never going to hold up. And I'm surprised it was resolved that quickly, though. He could have been in jail a lot longer.
The Cincinnati prosecution became a defining moment in Larry Flynt's career. It transformed him from a controversial publisher into a national figure associated with First Amendment rights. And this is where we are going to end part 1.
Okay.
For the day.
Now, I've learned so much about Larry Flynt.
You have?
Yeah.
There were things you didn't know?
Well, no, I didn't know very much about his humble beginnings and coming from that kind of poverty and stuff. So it's very interesting.
It is very interesting. Did you ever watch the film The People versus Larry Flynt?
I have not. Is that Woody Harrelson playing Larry Flynt?
You've never seen it?
No.
Oh, we have to screen this film, Dylan. It's a great movie.
Okay.
I think it's really well done.
We
well
can watch
cast.
it.
Oh, we're gonna. I can't believe you've never seen The People versus Larry Flynt.
No, but this is I did know that he was real big about First Amendment rights and stuff like that, and that every time someone tried to go after him for pornography, he always steered it back to it being a First Amendment protected right of his to do what he's doing, and he's seems to always be right.
All right, Dylan, we're going to wrap things up. We will be back with part 2 next week, and we promise we've got a midweek coming out as well.
Yeah, we do. We are on the other side of the holiday, 4th of July.
Thanks for letting us take a little break.
Yes, and we hope you enjoyed your 4th of July weekend.
We hope you're having an amazing summer.
We do.
I want it to be the summer of fun for everyone.
May your drinks always be cold and your headphones always charged.
Yeah, may your sunscreen bottle always be full
Yeah.
and flowing.
May your lighter never run out of butane.
There you go. Yes, exactly.
All right.
May
So
your grill always have charcoal.
until next time, we will catch you later, I guess.
Bye, Dylan.
Bye.